It's just going to be a quick review about the factoring special products is what they're called. And the first one is the difference of squares. And as you can see, we just have two terms, each of which have easy square roots. And it's just separated by a negative. And what you would do, the quickest and easiest and most efficient way to do this is just put down two sets of parentheses, one positive, one negative, and take the square root of both terms. So the square root of 25a to the fourth is 5a squared. And I'm just going to write that in the first space. And the square root of 625 is 25. And we are finished with that one. We're going to go through the same process because we can recognize that we have two terms, each of which has an easy square root, separated by a negative. So two sets of parentheses, like we did last time. One positive, one negative. One positive, one negative here. And take the square root of 64x squared is 8x. 8x. And the square root of z to the fourth is z squared. Z squared, z squared. Okay, and those are completely factored. And now we're going to look at the perfect square, which is another type of special factoring. And what we're going to do when we see a perfect square is we're going to put down two sets of parentheses. The signs are going to be the same this time, so we have to identify whether they're going to be positives or negatives. In this instance, we have a positive here and a positive here. That means we're going to have two positives. And we're going to take the square root of the first and the last term, and we're going to put them in the spaces provided. And then it's always a good idea to check it afterwards. So when you take the quiz on Friday, you can always check it. And I'm just going to make sure that I factored it properly. I'm going to go through and multiply these binomials and see what I get. And sure enough, I get x squared plus 10x plus 10x plus 100. And that's going to add up to 20x, the 2x, 10x's. And as you can see, that's the same as what we started with. I want to back up now. There is one more step that I forgot to complete. This is x plus 10 times itself, so please write it that way. For the sum and difference of cubes, I would just memorize the identity, is what I strongly recommend. And this is obviously a difference of cubes because there's a minus. And the identity for the minus is, for the difference of cubes, is there's a minus here, two pluses here. Take the cubed root, the third root, and that's going to go in these spaces. Take the third root and then square it, and that's going to go in the, oops, I made an error. One moment, I'm going to fix it. Okay, fix the error. Cube root and then square it, and it's going to go in this space. The third root of those, and multiply them by each other, and they're going to go in the middle, right here. For the sum of cubes, the signs are going to be as such, where I have a positive here, a negative, and a positive. And then we go through the process the same way as we did when we were doing the difference of cubes. Third root of both. Third root, then square it. Third root and multiply them by each other. Go ahead and pause it and try this one, and then I'll start it again and you can see if you got the correct answer. And here's the solution. 3x minus 5z squared, 9x squared plus 15xz squared plus 25z to the fourth. Sorry about that 4 there, it's a little messy. Please try this next one. This is a sum of cubes. Try to factor it completely. And the last one should look like this. 6a plus 4b squared, 36a squared minus 24ab plus 16b to the fourth.